Good evening, everyone. I'm Heather Carlisle, and welcome to the Red Room. Tonight, I'm going to be talking about the 6 styles of stressing. So, the 6 styles of stressing, let me type that here. They are classic, and they appear in us developmentally starting when we're born. We learn to be afraid of certain things. And those different ways of being afraid cause our stress. Now, I realize that's simplistic. And one of the things that I'm looking for is a way to describe and to teach so that we get it. And perhaps it's not all of the details, but we can go into that individually when we decide which one of the, I call false fears, we want to go deal with and get past. So the 6 styles of stressing start in childhood from what we need naturally as babies and toddlers. We naturally are going to expect that we get held, we get fed, we're protected and nurtured, and the whole organism is looking for those things. When those things don't appear, then we have a natural response to deprivation and wanting to survive, wanting to stay alive. We see those as threats and as some sort of danger. And when we experience some sort of deprivation or danger, we assume that we need to protect ourselves, take care of ourselves, and then we become defensive and try to control everything. And that means our body comes to red alert so that we can control things and protect ourselves from danger. So, if you like, if you can, there's a little sign on your screen where you can download this handout. Now, this is just a brief introduction to the 6 styles of stressing, the 6 flavors of fear, the way I teach it in the broadest sense, the 6 universal archetypes that each one of us develops as we naturally become adult. So 6 things that all human beings are born with and naturally want to experience so that we can develop ourselves and feel like we're not in danger and that we're competent and that we get our desires and needs met. So here we go, 6 styles of stressing and the 6 styles of fear. And anytime you want to ask me a question, just type it, and that always adds to how I present, because I'm here to teach directly to you, my viewers and listeners, and to help you in a concrete, practical, and quick way. So, when a question arises, ask, please. I'm excited when I get input and a response. So here we go, and this is what the handout looks like if you download it for yourself tonight. That page, which is just a list of the styles of stressing, and then this page, which is quite complex, and I'll walk you through that one. Because most of what we want to do when we stress, the way to relieve the stress is to de-glamorize, I love that term, de-glamorize the fear, de-glamorize whatever it is that we want to be defensive about or protect ourselves from, because it's usually not really dangerous. Our systems respond to it as if it is a danger, and that means learning how to respond to things without being afraid and with being intelligent and solution-oriented. So part of this is about our belief in our own capabilities. The first one, and this is the most primitive one, it's called the survivor. And if when you're a little child you get all your needs met, and you know some of those moms and dads who do that, where that baby is loved, warm, safe, only in an environment of beautiful sounds, is ideally breastfed, held close to the mom, and the world is divine. Whatever it is they want is right there. And Jack and I met our first granddaughter last month, actually. And it was absolutely delicious to see that when she has a preference, even at 3 months old, she shows the preference that she wants to be held not with her face facing you, but she wants to be held with her face facing out, because she's so interested in looking at all of the things around her. That means that she's not feeling threatened, she's safe, and she's interested. She's looking for more information, more knowledge, more learning. And foundational to the essence of our souls is curiosity and wanting to know more, and then as we mature, wanting to be able to contribute more. So that first style of stressing is the fear of being endangered, insecure, and deprived. Insecure meaning unsafe, not insecure in the sense of insecurities. That's more a part of feeling unworthy. This is feeling unsafe, endangered, and deprived of what we need in order to be healthy and happy and alive. And incidentally, those of you who are watching, thank you so much for tuning in. So the survivor is the baby that doesn't get those needs met, and you and I know that there are thousands of babies like that on our planet today. And the ones who do get great parenting and a great home, they become the contented protector, where we know that we can create comfort and safety and security, and feel that sense of trust, contentment about the world as well. I can get what I need, and I can also provide it to the little ones in my life. Then the second fear is the fear of being abandoned, isolated, and alone. And this is a sense of being orphaned, where you're not bonded and you're left alone and lost. And when we are not orphaned, connected and bonded with people, then become a social adult, a social child, where we're bonded readily with the people that are trustworthy and connected to us, and we have the sense of disconnecting from the ones who are not safe and not appropriate. So we want to know what it's like to be orphaned, in the sense that we don't want to just trust everybody and not be naive, but we also want to be able to be social, enjoy ourselves with people, enjoy other people, and not be afraid to go anywhere in the world wherever there's a gathering. Then the third fear is the fear of being unworthy, inadequate, and guilty. And this is the one underneath low self-esteem. And this is when we take on the role of the victim, where we don't have a sense of ability to do what we need to do to get what we need to get, and that we're victimized by something or other because we've been set up that way. And little children are victimized when they don't get what they need in order to achieve. So one of my favorite examples of that is when a child is ready to learn to tie his or her shoes, and the adult teacher doesn't give them adequate patience, instructions, and times over and over again, so that they can actually succeed at it, and then get the experience of, I can do this. And I call that the can-do kid. That child is not a victim because they know they can do it. And with little learning about small things, then they know they can do larger things. And this is the beginning of how we're going to conduct ourselves through life and as adults, where we know, maybe I don't know how to do this yet, but I believe in myself, and I know that at a certain point, if I want to, I can learn it. If a human being has done it, I can do it. And then we're no longer a victim. Then we become what I call the sovereign of our domain, the king or the queen, the good king and the good queen of our domain, where we're in charge of it. We know we can take care of it. We know we can do the right thing. So that's the third fear of feeling unworthy, low self-esteem. And then the fourth fear is the fear of being unlovable, needy, and hurt. And this is about the heart. This is about feelings. And in the adult state, this is the person who feels like a reject, where they're not lovable enough, they're not ever going to get the love and emotional connection and support that they need, and feel hurt by not getting what they want or hope for. Rather than the kind empath, the person who is so emotionally intelligent that they're kind to themselves and to others, not a feeling of lack or neediness, rather a sense of having more than enough to give to yourself and to anyone who comes along, being emotionally available, sturdy, passionate, and connected, able to have intimacy and able to have privacy, not a need to be enmeshed or over-connected, over-controlling of others, needy of others, or disconnected and afraid of connecting. So, does that make sense? You know, ask me any questions as I go along. I want to make sure that I'm following and it adds up correctly for you. Okay, the fifth of 6 fears, which is our style of stressing ourselves, is of being betrayed, cheated, and manipulated. And of course, this comes from when we're children, learning what it feels like when somebody betrays us, when somebody says they're going to do something and then doesn't follow through, or tells a lie. And so this is when we're afraid of being betrayed, and then sometimes we're afraid that we're going to betray ourselves. You know, sometimes we betray ourselves by selling ourselves cheaply for something or other. Maybe we're afraid we're not going to have money, and we accept a job that's not worthy of us just so that we can get a little bit of income, not believing maybe that life is fair, we are capable enough, and we're going to be able to get what we need, and therefore behave like an honorable man or woman and do the right thing. Do the right thing for us as well as doing the right things for others. And then number 6, the 6th style of stressing is the fear of being controlled, sabotaged, and or criticized. And when we're afraid that somebody else is going to try and control us, we want to take control. And we also are afraid in the adult state that perhaps we're not going to control things well enough, whether we hold on too tightly or we just get whatever, too passive. So we sabotage ourselves. And this is the fear of not being able to wield our own power, our own decisive energy to take action on our own account and action on those things that we make commitments to take care of. And then when we have mastery of that power to make a decision on what we're going to do and go ahead and do it, we don't sabotage ourselves and we do become champions. We wield our power exactly the way is best for our talents, our abilities, what it is that we are connected with in terms of our passions and our sense of mission in life. So there you are, the 6 styles of stressing. And they're all natural to us. All of us get stressed at some point or another. But what we don't want is to be ruled by a false fear. So we want to create your mental climate so that you're not afraid, you're intelligent, you solve problems, you face your problems squarely and smartly, but are not stressed by a fear response or a sense of being endangered or unsure of yourself in some way. because then what we have is the ability to be appropriately trusting instead of being afraid that we're a survivor, to be freely social instead of feeling like we've been orphaned and cut off, confident about who we are and that we deserve a good life rather than feeling like an unworthy victim, caring, which means we're fully connected with our heart and we wield it with emotional intelligence, where we're free to be intimate and also free to say no when we need to draw the line of what's appropriate for us. Because if we can't say no, we can't be confident, because then we're putting ourselves in the role of a victim or a martyr. And then, of course, the betrayer, we don't want to betray ourselves, because if we manage our energy adroitly, we end up being accomplished and successful. And then, of course, honorable, rather than cheating ourselves or being cheated by others, allowing ourselves to be cheated by others. We live an honorable life and only allow those things close to us that are right, good, and true. And so much as we can do that. So type me a question if you have one at any point. On page 2, this is a lesson that I teach where I mentioned the word deglamorize, so that we can use humor to deglamorize our false fears. Now, we need a caveat here, of course, because you and I know that living in the civilized world, and anyone who is tuning into my broadcast has a computer and therefore lives in some part of the civilized world. We also know and have great empathy and concern for all the thousands of peoples on this earth who do not have what they need. And so their fears are well founded. So when I talk about the 6 styles of stressing and label them false fears, I know I'm talking with people who are living largely in the civilized world and don't have dangers that are out of control. The dangers that are stressful dangers, that are false fears, you largely come from inside, from what we think, from our attitudes, from our beliefs. And as I was teaching last week on, remember the model that looks kind of like an hourglass, the more unconscious and the more conscious, and how we get the outcomes, how our knowledge and values and beliefs build inside of us. These false fears, these styles of stressing, are directly related to how we have built that system of understanding of ourselves, of people, and of life. And we have control over the conscious parts of that. So if we start with the very first fear, and we start down here at the bottom, notice this model is building blocks from the bottom up, where first we start with our foundation of a human being, and then we build on top of that. And this is directly in response to developmental psychology, where first a baby develops this, and then as they get older they develop this, and older they develop this. We can see that it's related to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and yet much more complex than that. And so I've used archetypal names to make this fun and memorable, to deglamorize it and bring the fears down to size so that it is not inadequately or inappropriately stressing you. We do need to get stressed when something is going wrong. We want to be sensitive to that it's going wrong and decide that we need to take action to do something to solve the problem or take care of whatever the concern is. So the very first one is what we want and need is safety and certainty. And this is our instinctual system that is the belly brain, where we naturally, in order to survive, need food, clothing, shelter, and this gives us the first level of safety and certainty in life. So the secure protector knows that, but the one that stresses us is the part of us that thinks that, oh, we're a survivor, we're not going to get what we need. And just recently, someone confided in me that they have this old habit, and I know that this is more common than we know. It's definitely a false fear, and it is a style of stressing, where they're afraid that the food is all going to be eaten, and so they take food and they hide it. Now, that's a real false fear. It's a real symptom of, in the civilized world, that this is they see a danger, but really there is no danger there, because they're living in, with a decent life in a decent home. And so the instinctual part of us is threatened like that, is the survivor. But when we know that we've got what we need, it's the secure protector. It's the contented person of constructive action. I have, the downlink says 7. Are there 6 or 7 styles? The downlink says 7, even though your handout indicates 6 styles. No, you're not missing one. I think Jack just had a typo. So thank you for telling me and letting me know. We'll change that on the label. No, you're right. There are 6. My email, well, that's Jack. I must not have proofread it. I was out of my office all day today.